Hey guys, I'm back. I think you just burped. I think you both just burped. You just finished your dinner. Please take a nap now. You guys have been on a hundred today. Hope you guys are doing well. We're going to continue Mark's education here with Gabby and Gotti. And I want to jump into a topic that I think would be helpful for you guys. A lot of people are hitting us up, and I just want to reiterate that all of our content, it doesn't go away. It lives on. It's on IGTV. Download the IGTV app, put in GreatHomesATL, and look at all our series. I did, I think, well over 30 videos on Mark's education, Mark's updates, cocktails with Kurt, Mark's home tours. I think I have like 300, 400 home tours on there. So make sure you're following our content, going through it, watching a lot of the educational videos. I definitely don't mind you asking questions along the way. That's what we're here for. But a lot of these questions are already answered, on the videos. So here's another one I'm making, and it's going to be called DTI. Now, what does DTI stand for? It's a term you might hear when you're applying for a mortgage. It means a debt to income, DTI, debt to income. So think about it, guys. Let's just throw easy numbers out there. So say you make $48,000. You divide that by 12 months. That's $4,000 a month, right? 12 times 4 is 48. So $48,000 a year. You are grossing $4,000 a month. They're not going to look at, taking out taxes, your health insurance, all that kind of stuff. They're going off that gross number, which is giving you an advantage. But for a lot of people, because they've racked up so much debt, it really affects whether you could even qualify for a mortgage or figuring out what you need to do to pay down to get you to qualify for a mortgage, but more importantly, to get you into a price range that for a house that you're really going to want. So again, let's go off of that. $48,000, you're bringing in $4,000 a month. What typically for FHA, which stands for Federal Housing Administration, stands for, is what a lot of first-time home buyers go with, because they allow typically a little bit lower credit score. I'm hearing they used to be 580, but with the COVID stuff going on, our feeling has always communicated to you 640 or higher, while 580 or higher was going on, because our interest is to prove to yourself you are controlling your debt. You are conscious of your credit score. You are making every effort to get it to 640 or higher. What I'm hearing around right now is maybe 620 or higher. The next level is about 660 or higher, 680 or higher. And then once you get into the sevens, it's all pretty much gravy. But that's not the only thing to worry about. Well, a lot of times people will hit us up and say, I have a 700 credit score, 750, 650, 680, all qualifying scores. But what happens is you're gonna, obviously prove your income through W-2s, 1099s, anything like that to the mortgage lender. So let's go off the $48,000. You have $48,000 of income, $4,000 a month. Let's start adding up your bills. What do you have for a car note? What do you have for student loan? What do you have for credit cards? And some people fall into really, really bad credit card debt. Other people don't have as bad credit card debt or have it under control, but have incredible amounts of student loans. And it is going to affect a person that has maybe a $300 or $200 a month student loan payment, and the person that has $1,000 or $1,300. It's totally going to affect the person that, if you're doing it as a couple. These are conversations you have to have with your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, husband, or wife, because these are financial decisions that are going to impact your ability to buy a house, to get into the real estate market, to start building generational wealth. So for FHA, they are going to allow you to go to 55% debt to income ratio, which is very, very generous. But your goal should not be to be at like 53, 54, 55. Your goal should always be to be really under 50, and really with the goal of 40 to 45%. Thanks, God. You agree? So I want you to just do that math for you. Take your salary, divide it by 12 months, that's your gross. Add up all your minimum payments on your credit cards, on your student loans, on your anything else that's showing up on your credit report. And that's going to affect, they're going to I'm not going to be able to tell you as a real estate agent. The lender is going to be able to tell you through these ratios, through your credit score, and how much money you're going to put down to determine the number. So sometimes people will hit us up and say, they see a $350,000 house on our site. And I get it. Not everybody knows, what a payment like that looks like. I will say, in the generation and the day and age we're in, if you have access, I'm sure you're watching us on a smartphone. I'm sure you have access to the internet. Just type in mortgage calculator. There's so many on bankrate.com, mortgagecalculator.org, and start playing around with some numbers to see if you're even close. So add all those things up. And if your debt is starting to become like, oh, I have like $2,000 a month in debt, and I only bring in $4,000, then it should be pretty much not rocket science, right? To know you can't afford anything close to these $350,000 price points, because you're already at the 50% mark before adding in a mortgage payment. So keep that in mind. You have to look logically at what your debt levels are. And to be honest with you, if you have been very cavalier and nonchalant with your debt, then how do I put this tactically? Kurt would say, you shouldn't be looking. I will say, it should be a wake-up call to get yourself prepared to do it. Debt and credit are the two things that prevent people from becoming homeowners. Think about it. If they were just giving out money to people, right? They didn't care what their credit score was. They didn't care that you had, you're renting in this 1-bedroom apartment, spending $1,500 a month and living in downtown Atlanta, and you wanted a car note. You went into a Mercedes dealership and they gave you a car note and gave you a 15% interest rate on the Mercedes, and your payment is $800, $900 a month, and you're only bringing in $48,000 a year. I mean, it should really tell you guys, there's no way you're going to be able to qualify for a mortgage. What you should do is start paying down the things that you can. Take your highest interest rate credit card and start making big lump sums, not the minimum payment, to get that at least under 30%, ratio. So if you have a $1,000 credit line, should never go over $300. If you have a $2,000 credit line, should never go over $600. But the goal really is to eliminate that debt. Eliminate as much as possible as you're approaching the mortgage loan. So that would be my strategy. And that's a strategy, that has worked for me. I watch read a lot of business magazines, financial magazines. I encourage you to do that. Susie Orman, David Ramsey, Kiplinger's magazine, Forbes magazine, CNBC. Start going on these sites and learning how to invest, learn how to pay down debt, learn about credit cards that give you cash back, and take advantage of that, but paying it off every month. So I want you to do that calculation for yourself. I'm not going to know it as the real estate agent. You're going to have that conversation with the lender. So if you make $50,000, $75,000, $100,000, if you're a couple that both make $75,000, so you make $150,000 combined, and you have, very reasonable car notes, and very, low student loan debt, and you have been excellent stewards of paying your credit cards off and on time for many years, then you probably are that person that's going to be looking in the 300s, 400s, 500s, 600s, because you've been a good steward of your debt and your credit. And they go hand in hand. If you're a person that can only pay the minimum on a credit card, that's a sign, guys, that you're not ready to be a homeowner. If you can't pay off credit card debt in 6 months as you're about to start the process of going for your mortgage loan, that's a sign. That means that you're not bringing in enough money to pay the debt that you already have, and you're probably adding more debt to other cards. So I want you to really take this opportunity to do the math. 55% is going to be the max for FHA. I'd say about 45% for conventional, which has the advantage of a 3% down instead of a 3.5% down, and also allows you to drop private mortgage insurance where FHA doesn't allow you to. So kind of just do some math. Like, again, if you are, say, bringing in the $4,000 a month, we know 50% of that is $2,000, right? So if you're a person that has graduated without any student loan debt, you have zero there. You have a couple credit cards, but you pay it off every single month. You don't have debt there. And maybe you have a car note that's $300, $400 a month. That means that just doing the math, if you went FHA, you probably can afford about a $1,600 a month mortgage payment. Now, I can't tell you what the price point you should be looking at. That's where the lender will tell you when you're having that conversation and saying, this is what you qualify for. Then you have that conversation of what do I feel comfortable, paying every month. Be realistic. Be realistic that if you're looking for a $1,200, $1,300 payment, you're probably not going to get the house in the best location, in the best school district, with the best features that doesn't need work. You know what I'm saying? So it's just common sense. But I want you to start thinking differently. And what strategy can I do to bring down my debt? And the ones you definitely can control are credit cards. Student loans, you've probably already made that decision, right? But I want to talk to people out there that maybe are thinking about going back to school or about to go to school, because we're having this discussion with our daughter who is entering her senior year. And if you decide to make that decision to go to the higher price schools and you don't have the scholarships or the financial aid for whatever reasons, maybe your parents make too much money or whatever the case to get the financial aid, you're going to have to take on that decision, and it affects you down the line when you go for a car note, when you go for a mortgage, when you go for buying anything on credit. So default is definitely never the option. Deferment is really, it used to be more of an option, but really what you're doing when you defer payments on student loans, you're still incurring late fees, you're still incurring interest, all that stuff. So even if it temporarily helps you, you're gonna eventually have to pay that back again. So student loans, they're not the death knell, but if you have tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars a month, in student loan debt, and your minimum payment is, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars, yes, it will affect you. If you're a person that took out some student loans, you're paying them on time, it's not going to affect you. And so those are the things you can control: credit cards, student loans, and of course, your car note, right? You could decide how luxurious you want to go. And especially as a first-time home buyer, I would really concentrate on the car that already has maybe lost some equity by you're buying it like a pre-owned or certified pre-owned rather than go new. Let that depreciate off the top and try to negotiate the best deal with an affordable payment, keeping in mind that you're going to want to be a homeowner. So debt to income, 55% or less. Really, the goal is 40% or less. Sometimes conventional will go to 45%. Do your numbers. We're all people that have calculators out there, right? All right, talk to you guys soon and make it a great day.